Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Hinduja Srichand from Sri Narayana Guru College of Commerce, Chembur, Mumbai, India. On the occasion of 2021 Global Edu Conclave, I would like to express my view on zero hunger, which is the second sustainable development goal set up by United Nations, which is dream of India to achieve by 2030. In the year 2015, the United Nations General Assembly has set 17 global goals, which has been accepted by all 193 member nations, and they made all these 17 global goals as their mission 2030. Out of these 17 goals, the second goal is zero hunger. That means every country would try their level best to see that no one sleeps hungry. In this session, I would attempt to expect the degree of successful achievement of SDG 2, that is zero hunger in India in 2030, by using three variables. Number one, availability of food. Second, accessibility of food. And third, utilization of food by using secondary data, which has been taken from various government reports. All these are the authenticate reports. Now, let us move to understand these three variables. The first variable is availability of India. Now, as far as the reports which has been submitted on various grounds by various agencies to government of India highlighted that 69 percentage of population of India is depending upon agriculture. So we can say that the major portion of the population is depending upon agriculture. At the same time, India occupies seventh rank in the world of having cultivable land. Not only that, India snatched the second rank in production of wheat and rice after China. And at the same time, India banks first rank in producing pulses. All these are very favorable things for India to show that there is availability of food. Now, let us understand the production of crops in kilograms per hectare by making use of two decades. One is 1996, another one is 2018. The Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Government of India says that in the year 1996, the total yield of food grains in kgs per hectare was 1,613 kgs. However, it rose to 2,201 kgs in the year 2018, which resulted in 36.45 percentage increase. Similarly, the pulses, wheat, rice, and cereals also have been increased by 32.53 percentage, 24 percentage, 35 percentage, and 42.65 percentage respectively. This is also showing a very good sign of achieving the global goal. Now, let us move to understand the per day per capita consumption. This has been calculated by dividing the total food grains available divided by total number of people, that means the total population. So in the year 1996, when the total food grains which was available in India was divided with the total number of people, we came to know that it is 475 grams per day, and in the year 2018 it rose to 484 grams per day. So there is increase. Then pulses, it was 33 grams per day in the year 1996, which rose to 55 grams per day in the year 2018. Now, here we should not forget that this was a period when 7 million tons of pulses have been exported. There were some situations which were not favorable for India. So, India has to import pulses from other countries, and that may be the reason the per day per capita consumption has been risen from 33 grams to 55 grams. For wheat, it was 176 grams per day, which has become 174 grams per day. There is a negligible change. We can neglect it because 2 grams per day only has been declining. But as far as rice is concerned, from 204 grams per day, it went down to 186 grams per day. And even for cereals, from 443 grams per day, it went down to 430 grams per day. Now, here we should not forget that the population is also increasing tremendously. So, here that may be the reason the per capita, as far as the consumption is concerned, went down for rice and cereals. As far as rice is concerned, it's a matter of concern. But again, the point came that why it went down, maybe because the pulses were used more. Even wheat is also having on the similar ground. But if we compare the total food grains, there is the positive sign. From 475 grams per day, it went to 484 grams per day. So there were some problems, there were some issues, but still this slide is not totally negative because it is showing the increasing per day per capita consumption in terms of total food grains. Now let us see the second variable, that is accessibility of food. That means how the people used to invest their income in the food grains. Now in the given slide, we can see that this information is from 1972 to 2011, which is containing two bar graphs. This brown color bar graph shows the expenditure made by common man on food items. From total income, whatever expenditure the common man used to make on food items are highlighted with the brown bar, and on non-food items, whatever amount he used to spend, it is shown under red bar. Now let us see in the year 1972 what was the situation. It says that in the year 1972, 64.50 percentage of total income was spent on purchasing food items and only 35.50 percentage on non-food items. In the year 1977, the situation got little improved. 60 percentage of total income was spent on food item and 40 percentage on non-food items. However, in the year 1983, again there is small change, but in the year 1987, you can see that the change has started, and from this particular year onwards till 1999, right here you can see that the brown bar is 48.1% and the red bar is 51.9%. That means people started spending less money on food items and more money on non-food items. And from this particular year onwards, that is 1999 till 2011, this trend has become a very common thing. Here you can see that in the year 2004, 57 percentage was spent on non-food items. In the year 2009, 59.30 percentage was spent on non-food items. And in 2011, it is totally reversed from 1972. You can see that the brown bar has become the smallest one and the red bar has become the tallest one. So this clearly shows that food is available to the people. That means the government of India is trying their level best to see that food is reaching to each and everyone and people are able to afford the food. Even in the year 2013, the food security bill was also passed. So even that also might have played one role. So though the graph is not available, but we can assume that this trend must have continued. And by 2030, this particular trend even might be a very more favorable, where people are spending less money on food items and more money on non-food items. They are spending less money, that means the food is available at the economical rate or at the reasonable rate, so they are able to spend that much money on that. So this is a report which has been submitted by NSS. Now let us see the last parameter, that is utilization of food. As far as utilization of food is concerned, UNICEF says that when the food is converted into nutrients, then only we can say the food has been utilized in the proper manner. So UNICEF has given the malnutrition is not because of the lack of adequate and nutritious food, But besides this, there are many other factors. So we should not forget this line, that it is not only the food shortage which is making the children malnourished, but there may be some other factors also. Now, here, WTO has given three basic indicators to identify the malnutrition among children. These are the three indicators: stunning, wasting, and underweight. These are the three different indicators. Stunning says height for age. That means for particular age, they are having the height, standard height. So if the height is not getting matched with the age, they say that the child is undernourished or malnourished. Then wasting, it is comparing weight for heights. That means they are having standards for height and weight. So if your weight is not as per your height, the WTO says that it is a wasting indicator and people and the children are malnourished. Then underweight, it is comparing weight for age. That means for particular age, they are having standards of weight. So if weight is not as per the age, again, they are called as underweight or the malnourished. Now let us see the situation under 2 decades again for the year 2005, 6 and 2015, 16. Now here also the report was submitted by National Family and Health Survey. It says that as far as stunning is concerned, there were 48% children who were suffering from malnourished in the year 2005-6, which went down to 38.40% in the year 2015-16. For fasting, it was 19.80 percentage of total children were malnourished, which went to 21 percentage in the year 2015-16. But in underweight, this particular indicator shows a drastic change. From 42.50 percentage, it went down to 35.7 percentage. So here we can say that though there is decrease except this fasting, but still the situation is alarming. The situation is more alarming as far as the death rate per thousand is concerned. In the year 2005, the infant mortality rate was 57 on 1,000 children, which went down to 41%. 41. Still, it is alarming. This should be zero actually. And we hope by 2030 it should be zero. And under 5 mortality rate, it was 74 deaths per thousand in 2005, which went down to 50 in the year 2016. But here, still, the situations are not in favor. Still, children are dying. Children are considered as malnourished children. So, if we compare all these three variables and to see that what is the percentage of getting the achievement of zero hunger by 2030. Now let us see. The first criteria or the first measure which we have considered is this availability of food, and based on the reports, based on the figures available, we can say that by 2030 Indian government will be able to provide this at the 100% level. That means this particular objective availability of food can be achieved to 100%. Then accessibility of food also, we have compared the income spent on food items and non-food items, and we can expect that by 2030 everybody will be in a position to get access to the food. That means they will be able to afford the food. So that is also 100%. That means there are chances of achieving this target by 100%. But as far as utilization of food is concerned, which is depending upon so many other factors, there are chances of achieving this 50 percentage. 50 percentage means see, this can be achieved either yes or no. So when the situation comes yes or no, we can say 50 percentage. So here we have considered 50% chances. Now if we make average of all these three, that is 100 plus 100 plus 50 and divided by 3, we'll be getting 83.33 percentage. That means there are 83.33% chances that we will be in a position to achieve this objective by 2030. Now, to conclude this, we can say that this present finding says that there are 83.33% chances of attainment of SDG 2, and this can be transformed if the rules related to distribution of food grains are made more stringent. The given scenario has highlighted that the availability of food make India as a self-sufficient, subject to non-happening of unpleasant conditions. It is significant to mention that National Food Security Act is promulgated in all states and union territories by identifying the eligible people, However, there are certain situations which need to be resolved at the distinct level. These situations are unemployment, lower wages, inflation, unawareness, non availability of proper records, etc., which make it difficult for the deserving people to get food grains through public distribution system. Hence, if these issues are getting resolved, then there are high chances of achieving the SDG 2 at 100%. So it is not a big deal. From 83.33 percentage we can move to 100% if we are making the rules more stringent, and if we see that the people are not dying or because of the shortage of food. So if we are able to achieve that, then this dream will come true. Your suggestions and queries are always welcome. Thank you.